What gaps did Islam fill in your soul, in your heart?
The moral compass that Islam gives you is largely missing in most Western parts of the world. So even though I grew up in Zimbabwe, we lived quite a Western life. We watched the movies, the TV shows, we listened to the music. So our value system was extremely permissive, right? It was modern Western American values, really. And I think that leaves a big void for a lot of young men and a lot of young women because they actually don't know how to behave. They don't know what is acceptable and what's not acceptable. And a lot of the time, they don't know how to respect themselves, especially when it comes to relationships between men and women. So I really gravitated towards the respect for self that Islam gives you as a human being, but especially as a woman. And knowing what my value is as a woman, and to live in this way that inshallah would protect me from a lot of the vices that were out there.
How did you manage to keep your faith?
And alhamdulillah, Allah blessed me with 17 years of marriage to my husband, who is sadly returned to Allah, Allah yarhamu. But we had 17 years of a very stable Islamic marriage. We had a Muslim family. So even though we're both reverts and we don't have Muslim family on either side, we had each other and we had our children and we had a mission. Surrounding yourself with sincere people and trying to live as much as you can an Islamic life. Because there's some people who try to be Muslim living an un-Islamic life. Their whole environment is haram. It's hard to stay focused and committed when all around you you're being called to other things.
What would you say to a girl who wants to take off her hijab?
You have to be in charge of your nafs. Not your nafs is in charge of you. You have to be in charge of your nafs and understand that the nafs needs to be kept under control. And then ask yourself, how do I want to die? Because any of us can return to Allah at any time. What state do you want to return to Allah in? In a state of denial, in a state of disobedience, or in a state of humility and submission and having done the right thing even when it was hard, even though sometimes you didn't like it. But why did you do it? Because to please Allah, for Him. So it's a mistake, I think, for sisters to try to rationalize the hijab too much. Of course, there's rational reasons. Of course, there are benefits. Of course, there is a khair. But that's not why we do it. We don't wear the hijab in order to get this or that benefit, because that benefit's not guaranteed. What is guaranteed, inshallah, is that Allah will reward the obedience in this life and in the next.
How do you think women should balance their work and family life?
Being intentional about what you're living for. What is my purpose? Why did Allah create me? And what is the work that He's given me to do on this earth? So say, for example, you have children. Allah's blessed you with a marriage. He's blessed you with a husband. He's blessed you with children. You know that those children are amana. You know that that husband is amana. So don't let anyone tell you that the work that you do for your husband and your children is worth less. No matter what the world says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us very, very important roles, and those are roles we cannot afford to not perform in. We can't afford to let those slide. There's some of those roles, you can't outsource them.
If you had the chance to speak directly to all the non-Muslims in the world, what would you like to say to them?
The world can be a brilliantly beautiful place, and it can be a brutally violent, cruel, difficult place. But living a life where you're connected to your Creator and living on purpose is that comfort that allows you to make your way through this life. Because none of us are going to have an easy ride all the way, but having faith and knowing the truth and being able to live by the truth is what allows you to make your way through it. Maybe knows a bit about Islam, doesn't know anything about Islam. Do what I said before. Open your heart with a humble heart. Speak to whoever you believe made you and ask him to guide you. And then look into it. Yeah. May Allah bless and guide everyone who watches this and who shares it and who inshallah gets some benefit from it.
Sister Naima Robert, thank you so much for this conversation, for these gems that you gave us. Jazakallah khair. May Allah increase your knowledge. May Allah bless your efforts.